We're gonna talk about a very easy subject. Very simple one.
Very simple.
Yeah. I would like to know how you left religion with Christianity specifically and how that journey went for you, where you were as a starting point and where you are now and how you reflect back on that. So I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes to give me a synopsis on
Oh my
all that.
God, you just like dropped this on me. I had no idea you were going to ask me this question.
You didn't?
Gather round, children. It's time for story time.
Santa's here. I don't know my voice that was. But
Santa's wife.
Santa's
Yes.
wife. Yeah.
Yeah. I think to go through that story, I've got to go all the way back to the way I was parented, which one of the big things was to value truth. I think I've mentioned this before, but that was so driven into me, is to look for truth. I remember that I became a Christian on January 17th, 1991
Whoa, really?
at 9:21 p.m. with 17 seconds.
Are you being serious about that?
Yep.
What?
I was in the corner of a kung fu studio,
Okay.
but this kung fu master was Christian, and he gave us Bible talk after each of them. And my parents took me there to help me like learn how to defend myself from bullying. But
Mm.
it was the person that made me want to make it official, and so I made my Christianity official with him in the corner of his dojo or whatever it was.
So if he was like an RPG character, he would be like a monk where he does kung fu, but also like does like God related, like good positive magic.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was like Green Beret specialist person that
Oh.
learned from Chinese people and then brought it to America. And I think he became a Christian later, and so he's got that like badass part of his life mixed with the divinical part of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool place to go.
So how did you like remember the exact time? Like
As
to
soon
the
as
second?
I lifted my eyes from the prayer, I wore a watch all the time when I was a kid, and I just looked at my watch and remembered it.
Wow.
When
That's
I was taking notes for this, I realized, oh, I still remember the time.
that's crazy. I would not remember something to that specific of a point, but it must have been a really big deal to you.
Yeah, Lydia has told me that she's really jealous, or her past self was really jealous of me knowing when, because she never felt like there was a time, and she wanted that feeling of it washing over her, like we've talked about before. But
Yeah.
she was just born into it in a different way than me.
So you like, because I know in like in religions, there's kind of like this one-uppedness of like who is a better like in Christianity, who's a better Christian out of the group, and so you kind of had her beat because you had it down to the second. If she would have had it to the milliseconds, she probably would have been ahead of you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's just not how it works in Presbyterianism. You're more of a covenant child, and saved before birth is kind of the idea.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm curious, actually, what were the specific beliefs around the religion, like as you grew up?
I guess the main things were that I thought that everything in the Bible was true.
Okay. Like they took it literally.
Yeah, it's like the inerrancy, no errors in the Bible. It was all, well, you didn't take everything literally, but there was no errors in it.
Okay.
Man's hands had been guided by God to get it exactly how he wanted.
Okay. So the people who were writing it weren't seen as humans, they were seen as appointed by God.
They were a vessel. They were the person holding the ink. That's really it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were some of those beliefs around that religion of taking that book so seriously?
I mean, are we going to talk about like just the basic points of Christianity?
I mean, this specific branch, I would think it'd be worth it. Yeah.
Okay.
For people that don't know.
For me, I thought it was you were saved by faith, and so it was just believing, and that works didn't do anything for you.
Okay.
Like doing good things didn't do anything for you. And it was important that I viewed myself as a filthy rag, and I was made whole through Christ.
Okay.
And so I kind of and I was told that self-esteem is a new age term that is like sinful.
Wow.
Yeah, and I took that to heart, and yeah, edited myself a lot. Well, I'm gonna go back to the beliefs.
Yeah. You believed like in a heaven and hell type situation?
Yep, heaven and hell. I believed that there's this whole term or category of eschatology. It's like the end times of the Bible, and I believed that Jesus was still going to come back and the rapture was going to happen.
Okay.
A lot of people believe that had already happened, but my personal belief was that it was still going to happen.
So there was differing beliefs within like your
Yeah, I kind of
congregation.
came from like a non-denominational background, but then whenever I got married, we went into the Presbyterian church, which was more fundamentalist,
Okay.
more they cared more about the doctrine, and I thought they were the best Christians.
Okay.
I thought they were winning.
And you chose for that reason because you wanted to be around the best Christians.
Yeah, I wanted to feel right. I wanted to feel like I was good, and that's what I thought it took.
Okay. So like probably any other Christian that has like these beliefs, they are very intertwined into your entire life and how you perceive the world on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the people that aren't, we called them California Christians.
Any Christian that wasn't a part of it.
Any Christian that didn't seem to be taking Christianity very seriously or supported things that we would obviously didn't support back then, like homosexuality.
Okay.
Anybody that was supporting that, I was like, oh, they're California Christians.
Okay. And whose interpretation of like the actual Bible did people follow? Because or were they just trying not to follow it by interpretation, but just like I was saying, like reading the words more like literally?
I think it wasn't someone that we were trying to follow specifically. It was your own interpretation.
Okay.
But it was encouraged to interpret it the same way as the church that you were going to did.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's where so many denominations came from. No, I don't like that.
Mm.
Let's start our own church.
Yeah, I think that's proven in history, all these
Yep.
different variations of it. Okay, so you were born into this religion, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom became religious as a Christian, as an adult. And I think my dad grew up in the Methodist church, but it was mainly my mom that was pushing for the religion in our family.
Okay. When's your earliest memory of kind of knowing that you were starting to like believe it more or treating it as a more serious thing as like as a younger kid?
I probably don't have a specific memory before that January 17th date.
You don't have like the specific like time for some of these ones?
No, just that one.
Okay.
I definitely was leaning that way. I just felt that I hadn't said the words or made the decision on my own.
Okay.
It felt like it had been made for me before then. And then that moment was when I made it for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was that growing up as a kid going to like church? Did you do other activities outside just going like on Sunday? Like
Yeah, there was definitely different phases. We went to Sunday night, and Wednesday night, all like every single week for a phase. There was a phase where we just went to Sunday church, and there was a phase where we also did Bible studies in the middle of the week with just friends. I even led a Bible study on my own when I was 16 or 17, just because I didn't like what was being taught at the church
wow.
that I was going to.
So any like free time that you had in life was focused towards like studying the Bible and like building a stronger relationship within like this belief?
The old Christian in me would love to be able to say yes to that.
Okay.
I felt guilty. I felt shame for not spending all my free time on that. There was a lot of pressure to do daily devotions in the morning of prayer and focus on some scripture and see how you can apply it to your life. And I probably did that 100 times total in my whole life. And it was something I felt expected to do every single day.
Okay. So you were like an extremist. Is that fair to say? You were like a Christian extremist?
I think it's pretty extreme. I think I'm sure there's people that are more extremist than me.
Okay.
I thought you should have a whole bunch of kids because the Bible said to make a quiver full of kids, and who wants one or two arrows?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, it adds up if you're using the Bible to make this decision. Both my wife and I thought that the husband is the leader of the family and he makes all the decisions. Um, I, a lot of the people I grew up around, or even into adulthood Christianity, were pretty sexist, but I always felt that that was a bit weird.
Okay.
It made them seem like second class citizens, and I never liked that. But there was definitely a lot of sexism, and I mean, the Bible is really sexist.
Hmm.
Like, I think there's like over 150 verses that just say something about women, and then there's another place that says a different thing about men, and the men are better. Like the slaves
Yeah.
are less valuable if they're women than a man. A whole bunch of different things like that.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
Do you remember like how old you were when you started like noticing that? Not like you don't have to give
I
like
guess
a
I would
perfect
say
age
it was
range.
in marriage when I got married
Okay.
and started seeing how other people treated their spouses, and yeah, it was different than me.
Okay. And how old were you when you got like married?
I was 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah, to go back a little bit, my mom gave me this book by this guy named Joshua Harris,
Okay.
and the book is called "I Kissed Dating Goodbye." And I read this book, and I was like, "Oh, I can be a better Christian." I didn't realize. Now I can be a better Christian by just not dating, not kissing anybody, no physical relationship whatsoever until I get married. And I like took that to heart
Whoa.
for years.
So like no masturbating. Like did you?
Oh no, I didn't say that.
Okay.
No dating. I would be a chewed piece of gum, I think was the terminology that people used back
Okay.
then. If for my actual wife, if I dated a whole bunch of other women before that.
I guess what would be categorized as dating? Is it more than just like hanging out with someone?
Yeah, dating would be courtship was what I was supposed to do.
So okay. So showing
I
like
hang out.
romantic interest.
What?
Like showing romantic interest in.
Yeah, if I wanted to show romantic interest, then I would maybe even speak to the father first.
Whoa.
And then we would do family things together. Like I'd go out and hang out with their family, or she'd come out and hang out with mine.
Okay.
Or maybe friend groups, but not individual one-on-one dates, and no physical relationship until you're married.
Wow. And you just like fully embrace this type of lifestyle after reading that book.
For quite a while.
Okay.
For quite a while.
What was it that spoke to you so much from it? Was it just the fact that you would be seen or feel a better Christian?
I mean, I definitely had those talks where they bring you in for this Wednesday night Bible study, and they talk about sex, and they talk about STDs, and they try to scare you, and they even show you pictures of problem genitalia.
Okay. Wow.
And I think I took that to heart. I think that I'm not sure why I came up with this term, but I think it was like a dirty sex dog.
Dirty sex
that's what
dog?
I think boys and men were kind of presented as to me. And so whenever I saw this book, I was like, oh, I cannot be a sort of dirty sex dog.
Got it. So it's almost like that animalistic side where like you kind of viewed any interest and pleasure as like an animal side
Mhm.
when the side of God was like pure.
Yep, there is stuff of the world, and there's stuff that's not of the world that's more eternal, and don't need to worry about this temporary stuff.
Okay. Do you remember if reading that book you chose to do it because you wanted to personally be a better Christian with like your relationship to God, or was it because you wanted to kind of showcase to your parents that you were a good like
I think it
religious
was the
person?
first thing I really cared about. It was my way of belonging. The more I was a Christian, the more the people around me were impressed and liked me. And
Whoa.
yeah, I became a counselor, a camp counselor at a summer camp, and I got so much good feedback from all of my Christianity from that it just made me want to be more of it.
Wow. So you would have like just direct feedback from people that would start treating you better if you did these like specific things or like kind of shared with people that you were doing these specific things to have a better like relationship with God.
Yeah, I mean they saw me as really mature and really caring about Christianity, and I did,
Mhm.
and I got a lot of praise for that, and so it just made me want to go into it even more.
Wow. I mean, I could see that because I feel like you're a very passionate person who once you make a choice about something, you stick to it. So I could totally see young JT doing that with religion.
Yeah. Yeah. I really wanted to belong, and that was my way of doing it.
Did you feel like you belonged?
Yeah. Yeah. I had a lot of good relationships with people in the church over the years, and um, I think most of that came from them respecting me as a Christian and a person, and that came from the work I was doing as a Christian.
Okay. During that time as like a teenager, choosing to be like court-wise like celibate, like relationship celibate when it comes to like interaction with like other women or other people. Were there any experiences you had of feeling shame from like the reason I'm asking this question is because I know personally from my own experiences and other people that there's like this big issue with shame when it comes to religious beliefs where you kind of fall into your animalistic side and human nature and you can feel really bad like you did something wrong against God. Did you ever have like an experience like that when you were younger or did you feel like you were like pretty consistent on like maintaining what you wanted to be?
I think I could be really consistent with the outside stuff, but I still struggled with the internal thoughts because I was told that even your internal thoughts can be um, violating a woman, or I'm not sure how they would say it. Let me
Mm.
think. Yeah, there's impure thoughts, and it would cause you to sin, and it would be disrespectful to the woman to think anything sexually about someone.
Yeah, so not like an example would be like not trying to like take sexually advantage towards like a woman, but even just thinking the ideas of being sexually attracted to a woman would,
Just being attracted.
yeah, that God would be able to know that about you and then you'd be sinning because of that.
Yep.
Holy fuck.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I just sinned just now by saying that, right? Or
Probably. It's safer to just say yes.
okay.
I want to go back to Joshua Harris for a minute.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
I believed him. I believed in this book so much. I went to one of his conferences.
And how old were you when you went to this conference?
14, 15, 16, something like that.
What?
My mom took me to him, and I had like a good connection with him because he's like, I'm going to go do some mission work down in Puerto Rico. And we had just come back from Puerto Rico. And I was like, are you going to go visit such and such? And I told him the name, and he was like, how did you know that? I was like, we were just down there. I just met that guy. And so it was just like this really big connection for me. And so I think
Okay.
that's a big part of why I like dove into it really hard. But the reason I want to bring this up is because Joshua Harris has taken that book out of print and apologized for it since then.
Really?
Yeah. I learned this a year or two ago, just looking it up for fun. And he apologized for it and said that they were really harmful beliefs and he doesn't want to spread them anymore.
What were the specific things that he regretted writing about?
I think it was denying all of those animalistic thoughts. I think he saw that that's not how humans can live.
Mm. Was he still religious at that point in time when he made those changes?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Wow. But I mean, I could totally see that being a 14-year-old kid meeting someone like that you're reading this like really important like subcategory of work outside the Bible, of course. And you meet someone and that you just like connect even more with like the person's book and their writings. Like especially for a 14-year-old kid. I can't really see many 14-year-old kids that would like take action on something like that, especially like spiritually or like religious. So
Yeah, and it felt so good to get all that feedback and recognition from my mom or from the other people. Or,
JT's being such a good boy. He's going to this conference to meet this person.
yep, he's going to this conference about not kissing any girls.
Look at my son. He ain't kissing no girls.
I'm so proud.
Which I guess is from my own like my current state of mind. I just find that like so sad, just to think of like a parent like raising your kid like that and just like feeding these areas of like such unhealthy beliefs. Ugh, man, I'm just like sorry you
Yeah.
had to deal with that.
Yeah, all of it was driven by fear.
Wow.
Got to keep us out of hell.
So, yeah, I guess like walk us through that journey a little bit from being a part of this religion. You said you got married at 21.
Yep.
How long were you guys like dating before that? Like around.
We dated for 0 time because we weren't allowed to date.
Okay, yeah.
But we were together for 5.5 years before then, mostly as best pals.
Okay.
We didn't have a term for what we felt towards each other. I already had a best friend. She had a best friend, I think, at the time. And, so we made something else up. And we connected through the term of best pals for years.
So not categorizing the relationship was like kind of like a cheat code of not like dating.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
It's just like dressing up nice for summer Sunday church and going in with a smile when you were just arguing for 10 minutes ago in the car, like screaming and yelling.
And
it's just a facade.
And this is your current wife now?
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have been together for how long?
21 years plus the 5.5.
That's really wild.
Yeah. So we were actually told when we got married, or not when we got married, by some elders shortly after we got married, to never say the D word, which is divorce.
Okay.
And we thought that is the ultimate failure, is divorcing. And so we didn't even look at it as an option. And that was kind of a destructive belief in and of itself, because we could do whatever we wanted to each other in the marriage or not do whatever we wanted to each other in the marriage. And it didn't really matter. And so it didn't feel like a partnership. It felt like something that we were both kind of just stuck in. And since we've worked through that with therapy, it feels so different.
You both felt like stuck in it? Like,
just it felt like we didn't have tools. We didn't know what to say to each other. We didn't know how to convey our feelings. We didn't know how to argue. We didn't know how to disagree. I was just thrown right into it at 21 and 20 years old.
So you weren't like, you didn't have any experiences or weren't taught how to actually approach like a marriage. You guys were just like kind of people that were meant to be together, and then you were just being around each other.
Well, that animalistic side really wanted us to be together.
Yeah.
But we couldn't do that until we were married. And so it almost didn't feel like an option for us to not get married.
So you got married for sex?
Yeah.
Wait, did you really?
We got married when we did for sex.
Okay.
I don't think I married who I did for sex.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not surprised by that answer, because I know a lot of people that grow up, especially like in more extreme types of religion, that you don't want to damage that relationship with God, and so you choose to get married. Some people get married very quickly that I've met because they want to be able to have intimate relationships, which makes sense if you're like a young adult who has urges and desires. But I'm happy to hear that you guys didn't just like stay together because you wanted to have sex. You guys enjoyed each other's company.
Yep.
Okay.
It started out as a really good friendship.
That's cool.
And it has just developed into more of that.
Okay. Well, that's really awesome. Yeah, as you are growing up within this religion, is there any other like specific things you felt like were important milestones in your direction of building a stronger belief?
When we first got married, we lived in Atlanta and we knew it was going to be temporary. And so we didn't really connect with our church very much. We felt guilty, maybe even shame for that. And so when we moved to a place that we thought we could be for a long time, I think we tried to jump in, like both feet, get involved in Sunday school and Wednesday night Bible studies and hanging out with all of these people. That was probably a really big milestone for us. It felt like we were maybe for the first time as a couple committing to Christianity and trying to be as good of a Christian as we can be.
And like specifically as adults, right?
Yep.
That's a drastic change, is when you have to start making that choice for yourself. I mean, it sounded like you kind of already were when you're younger, but then not having that kind of pressure after you're like, you're married or you're moved out and doing life on your own. Even from my experience, I can see that like that was drastically different for me too, of making that choice as an adult. Okay. When did you start questioning your like beliefs or just the religion you were a part of in general?
When you were just saying that, I actually thought of a new one, that we were driving into church and I was listening to something on the radio. It's like a pop or a rock song. I have no idea what it was, but it wasn't Christian. And the sunroof was open. And when we pulled into the parking lot, Lydia reached down and turned the volume down.
Wow.
And that was like impactful to me because I realized that we needed to look a different way than we were presenting, or we need to look a different way than we actually are in real life.
Mm.
And that still like is a little bookmark in my mind of this feels off. I don't like this.
Yeah, you just start having to think about like the social perception of yourself within a religious group. Did that so that started making you start like thinking that direction of wow, we have to kind of put two different faces on. Um, did that get harder over time to feel like you had to like be a different version of yourself around these people? Not these people, like your I guess your like religious group.
Um, I guess I think I found the people that I could be myself with at home. Christians that were the same level of Christians as me. You don't want to go too high because they're going to frown on you, or you don't want to go too low, or you're going to have to frown on them.
Mm.
So you got to find the right level. And that was really helpful, um, to feel more belonging. But it still felt like capital C church would still frown at these things.
Okay.
And so we had to be two different people. And so it wasn't like a big thing in my mind, but it was just a sticking point that I think came back up to me later. What started the shift, I think what started the shift first was actually politics.
Oh, really?
Was I was very conservative and very um, a climate change denier type of person.
Okay.
And I started finding information that was not from a Christian source. I had always been told to only allow information into you that was kind of verified. And I understand that echo chamber and why people want to do that. But I stepped out of the echo chamber and started hearing different sounds. And I was like, oh, this feels weird. Whenever I look at the other side of the political aisle, it kind of looks more loving. And if I think about what what Jesus would have wanted, it would be more like socialism.
Mm.
Something feels weird about this. If I think of heaven, that's socialism, and it just let me start looking at both sides of the political aisle, and I found myself identifying much more with the left.
Okay. This is kind of like a side note from something you were saying before. What made you start actually feeling comfortable with even looking at information that wasn't like church related? Because I would assume that wouldn't be like an easy thing to do that because it's kind of disobeying like the religion, right?
I guess I think once I got into adulthood that no one was restricting me anymore, and so I could look at what I wanted. And Reddit is where I started looking, and it was mostly just for
Fucking Reddit, man.
it was mostly just for entertainment. But looking at slash all on Reddit, all of the subreddits come through,
Yeah,
and I see all of the top stuff. And so I started seeing stuff about politics, and that's why I went that way first.
yeah.
And then I started seeing stuff about climate change, and it like was another little like, huh, this is a sticking point. That's kind of weird. And then it was evolution, and I I did not believe in evolution. My mom was very against it, and I just didn't have any understanding of it at all.
Okay.
But I knew it was wrong.
Like almost you just had like an initial emotional reaction to it, like "Ugh," like the idea of evolution. You hear that word, but you don't really understand what that like scientifically like means, right?
Yeah, a lot of Christians believe that you can be a Christian and believe in evolution. I was not one of those people yet.
Yeah, I mean, so how old did you think the Earth was?
I thought 6 to 10,000 years old.
Wow.
We went to a Sunday school one time, and the Sunday school teacher was talking about old Earth versus new Earth creation. And I was like, "What is this?"
Like there's a distinction between it?
Yeah, and one is with new Earth, God created it 6,000 years ago. Everything that is here and the way it is happened in 6 to 10,000 years.
Okay.
The other is that God created the Earth with a whole bunch of age already. And I was like, "Oh, I can like accept more of what I see in science if I accept that God just created the earth with a whole bunch of age in it already."
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. But that was a gateway apparently to looking into more evolution. And
But was that hard to just even like I mean, it sounded like the way you're describing that you had to fight these natural instincts you had of kind of questioning a belief to begin with, where you had the belief that the earth was like fresh, is new, but then there are things you're like kind of seeing. There's things of like dinosaurs and stuff, and or I guess just watching naturally how things age. That there's would be like no realistic way that the earth would be so young. So like the way you were describing that, you were saying how it took this relief from you because you were naturally kind of questioning that. But was that hard? Like, I guess I just want to talk about that specific thing of just like questioning yourself with your beliefs, like kind of attacking your thoughts as you start questioning things. Um, how did you handle those situations where if an intrusive thought would pop up that goes against your beliefs, how would you approach handling that like mentally?
I guess when I first heard that Bible study, Lydia and I were like looking at each other and like, this is really surprising. And it felt naughty a bit, but it was being taught in our church.
Yeah.
And so it was very confusing. I think the fact that it was taught in the church by someone that we really respected at the time, he was like a college professor also. He was really good at lecturing, really good at understanding stuff and teaching it at a great level. He just explained it really well, and it lined up more with science. And if we go back, I wanted truth, and this sounded more like truth to me.
Hmm.
And so it was a bit upsetting at first, but I was quickly like happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and around like what age period did you start noticing that you wanted to find out about truth or like focus towards figuring out truth?
um 12 maybe. I
Okay.
I would debate with my friends that we just loved debating stuff.
Okay.
I was more of a non-denominational or a Baptist Christian at the time, and most of my friends were Presbyterian. They're really into doctrine and getting everything right, and we would go back and forth. We called it apologetics, of being able to defend what you believe, and it was fun,
Mm-hmm.
but probably sank me deeper into my fundamentalism.
Yeah, so like that interest in truth is what kind of potentially motivated the effort and energy you put into learning more about Christianity and religion.
Yeah, as long as it was more truth about Christianity, I could easily follow it. But
Yeah.
whenever I started seeing truth that disagreed with Christianity, I I, I was like, this feels weird. I kind of want to go that way
Okay.
because that feels right. But what about heaven? What about hell?
Hmm.
What about my relationships? But it just kept coming back. Kept finding new little pieces of information of um one of the first ones was the word fuck.
Okay.
I didn't curse very much, mainly just in moments of anger, but I wanted to. People that cursed, it was funny. And I was like envious of that. And so I was like, well, I want to double check this and see what the Bible has to say about the word fuck. It's not in there. Did you know that?
I didn't know. I thought fuck has been around for like 2,000 years.
Nope. It's a new word. And I realized that I was following Christianity and not the Bible. That was the first time where I was like, whoa, this is really different.
So what would be the distinction there between following Christianity versus the Bible?
The Bible would say, maybe the closest you could get to saying don't curse is to not use
Like the Lord's name in vain.
crude and foolish humor.
Okay.
Crude and foolish speak or something like that.
Okay. You're a bad Christian for not knowing this, like off.
But I just think, well, so that was taught by everyone, is if you say those words, you will be frowned at
Mm.
and scolded even. And I just couldn't find it in the Bible.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. The fact that I was being taught this, it was almost universal from everyone that I'd ever been in Christianity with.
Really?
And it wasn't in the Bible.
Yeah.
And it was just like another little bookmark of, this is weird.
So that's when you start following like someone else's interpretation of like the Bible versus like how you'd interpret yourself.
That I started interpreting it for myself.
Yeah.
In that moment with that particular thing.
Okay. Wow. And was that different when you started being able to like, because I can see that being kind of freeing of, especially living in a modern world, of being able to refer back to it and seeing if there's anything that is stopping you from doing something that hasn't been talked about before.
Yeah, I it was a lot of fun.
Was it?
Yeah, starting to curse as an adult, it was fun.
How did it feel saying like saying fuck for the first time?
It's a great word. It's so versatile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like so enthusiastic. I love it. Like it's like so intense and it can describe so many different intense feelings.
I do think it's interesting that a lot of the most extreme expletives are religious.
Okay.
Like people are saying, "Oh my God," all the time, and I was not allowed to say that. I didn't let myself say that until after Christianity, well after Christianity. It was "Oh my gosh," is what I said.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird how people who aren't even religious say those things like, "Oh my god," or like, "Jesus Christ,"
Yeah.
like it's almost like there's like socially this natural like atheistic like attack that starts happening by people just like saying that commonly against like the religious norm.
Yeah,
But
it feels like we're just trying to be as shocking as possible. Let's say the worst thing possible.
yeah. Um okay, so you started questioning your beliefs, and was that hard to start questioning your like your beliefs about like your entire life? Because religion can be like you were describing it as like your full focus in life. Maybe besides having kids, being married, maybe having a job, like whatever that looks like to like kind of survive, but your full focus should be like worship, doing more research and like and where you're placed within the world between yourself and God. Was that hard to start questioning that, especially being married? Like how did that like impact your relationships with maybe friends or your marriage and your family?
I definitely saw myself as a Christian first. If you asked who I was, or if I was to write down who I was before man, before human, before father or husband or person from the South, I'm a Christian.
Mm.
It felt like I had to make that the most important thing. When I looked into curse words, it was more of me just shaping Christianity to be like more accurate to the Bible. I
Okay.
still felt like a Christian, but I was just chipping away slowly and making more of JT's version of Christianity. The next one was the word modesty, because I mentioned about the dirty sex dog and thinking about men and women and thinking about each other. And when I started thinking about the word modesty, I looked into the Bible to see what it says.
Uh-huh.
And I could be wrong about this, but I think the only thing it talks about modesty is like, don't show off all your rich clothes. Wear something simple.
Whoa.
It was not nudity or sexual modesty at all. That was another one of those situations where I was following Christianity, but not the Bible, and I had no idea. And so each of these felt like a small betrayal. I thought all the old white haired people had verified all of this for me. I had trust in them.
Mm.
And I think that a big part of my faith came because of the trust I put in them. But then when I realized that all these people are teaching this stuff and they don't even really know what the Bible says about it,
Mhm.
that was another one of the bricks crumbling in my wall.
So you actually felt like disappointed or upset by like did you lose trust in those people after that?
I mean, I was slowly reducing the amount of trust I had in them.
Did that feel more freeing or more lonely to be, or more confused? I'm gonna give you three options to choose between those. I'm curious about all of those.
Lonely, confused, or what was the other one?
Disappointed, I think,
Hmm. Um, I think it was.
or excited.
I
Sorry.
think it was lonely because I was realizing that people didn't seem to be considering these things,
Okay.
and to speak up about these things would really upset the apple cart. Nobody wants to upset the apple cart. yeah, the things that started bothering me when you have that, like, this verse says this. So it's like verse A and then verse B over here. And then because of those two existing, we have principle C. And that's where so many of the things that I had been taught had come from. But when you look directly in the Bible, they weren't there. And that was, yeah, that's started to crumble.
What do you mean by that principle C?
Um, if A and if B, then C must be true.
Oh, okay. I
That
got
that
you.
type of thing.
Okay.
And I found a lot of Christianity was like that, where you couldn't find a direct verse, but because of the process of elimination,
Yeah.
you could get to that belief. And I don't like getting to beliefs that way.
Yeah. Able to make assumptions because of two different things.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay. So as you were starting to question these beliefs more, were you able to speak to your wife about this?
I didn't speak to her about the big thing of me questioning my beliefs, but I did
Okay.
speak to her about the individual things, and she would, I think, mostly agreed with me about these things and saw them as problems on her own.
Okay. So I guess looking back, you didn't even notice that you were on this like direction or pattern of kind of pulling apart your beliefs?
Yeah, I thought I was refining Christianity.
Okay. Interesting interpretation, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you were pulling lots of bricks. What made the house fall down?
The Bible is just one book. People
Well, there's two books, right? Let's be technical here.
66 blobbity blahs.
Yeah.
And the people that I respected, they said things like, "Yeah, I mean, you can't really fully understand the Bible."
Okay.
And I don't know what it was, but one day I just had the thought of, it's just one book, and people are saying that they can't wrap their mind around one book. People have wrapped their minds around dozens, if not hundreds, of big books and like medical texts or something like that. Like, this seems ridiculous that we can't understand one book.
Yeah.
And so I started losing respect for the people at the top. Anybody that said that, I felt like they weren't serious. That doesn't, this is your fucking job.
Yeah.
And you don't know the whole Bible. I don't know, it just seemed convenient or something, a little suspicious.
Okay. And how old were you like around this time when you were like being a little bit more destructive with your beliefs?
I think I was in my early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a good decade of, as an adult, fully being a good Christian boy.
Yep. Good Christian boy from the South.
Yeah. So what did it look like you kind of inching your way out of Christianity? Or again, like what made you make that full decision to be like, I don't know if I'm Christian or if I believe in God anymore. Did that happen in like one single point, or was it more of like this kind of drawn out experience?
It was pretty drawn out.
Okay.
I still felt like I was refining Christianity for a long time. It was I started listening to the sermons more closely and then trying to figure out what the action item was.
Okay. So like an armchair expert, you were more of like an armchair pastor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, okay, what is he asking me to do here?
Yeah.
And he would say things like, true joy, true peace comes from Jesus. And I'm like, what do I do to get that? Just because I don't feel that. And I feel guilty or shame for not feeling the joy that I think Jesus should be able to give. I probably just started paying attention for years of things like that. And it was just it became really slow after that. And then we had this group of guy friends get together one time.
Okay.
And we were just hanging around a bonfire in the evening, just shooting the shit.
Okay.
And it was really casual. And there was a few of those situations where you're like, fuck you, dude. And the person feels loved by you saying fuck you because they,
Yeah.
The next morning, we got a big text message, like a huge wall of text from one of the people that had been there. It was one of the younger guys. And he was like, he brought up that verse that I mentioned earlier about the crude and foolish talk. and how we should be better examples for him and for our children. And it was one of the first times that I'd ever felt like like a Bible bullet was shot at me, that had
Whoa.
ever been weaponized. And it came at a time when I was starting to question things really, really heavily. And I was like, I don't, this doesn't feel good. This feels wrong. And I think that that text message was what caused my shelf to collapse, because then I started looking into this website called Rational Wiki,
Okay.
which talks about the historicity of Jesus and all of the edits that were done to the early manuscripts of the Bible or whatever. And I found that there was so many so many known edits, and so much more opportunity for unknown edits to the Bible, that I did not trust its inerrancy anymore. I
Mm.
realized that men fucked with it, and it seems like we can't know. And that was terrifying, because like we were, as a religion, oppressing women because of this. We were spanking our children because of this. We were
Mm.
saying people couldn't be gay because of this. And I'm like, wait a second. This seems like just a man wrote it.
Yeah.
And so I think it was the Bible being weaponized against me allowed me to ask, is this really real?
Yeah.
I went and did that research that I thought that the old white hair people had done, and they hadn't.
Yeah. To me, like how I'm viewing this, it sounds like over time you slowly started building up your own beliefs around, like, kind of counter beliefs against like some of these other people that were teaching one thing. And then it sounds like to me that might have been and tell me if I'm wrong here, the first experience you had of actually kind of defending yourself, of the fact that you had enough of like these other ideas and beliefs built up within yourself that when when they were attacking you saying that you should not be doing these type of things, you actually had enough counter arguments against that to defend yourself.
I guess it felt like I had created my own Christianity from what I thought was accurate and true,
Okay.
with fuck and modesty and nudity. And it felt like more in line with the actual Bible.
Yeah.
And then whenever people disagreed with me, it I saw that they weren't coming from a genuine place, because I'd already done the research on that. And
Mm.
it caused me to be like, wait, this,
You weren't allowed to use logic.
no, definitely not. You cannot use logic with the Bible.
So what started you? Because I mean we're a little bit further into this now, but you can say that you're like an atheist, right? Would you
Now,
yeah? Would you categorize yourself as an atheist now?
I was actually thinking about this morning. I might not be an atheist.
You're more agnostic.
I'm more agnostic.
Like you are open to the idea of something larger than you exists, but you don't believe it.
Right.
Okay.
I think that I'm anti-religion,
Okay.
but not in early days of evolution. I think
Okay.
religion is really important for developing.
Interesting. Okay, I will definitely go that direction. But the reason I wanted to say this is, what led you down the path of more being agnostic, or like maybe questioning the belief of God versus just starting your own denomination?
It was the number of edits in the Bible. It didn't hold. I didn't respect it anymore.
Okay, so fundamentally, you just lost trust in the whole the foundation of
Yep.
Christianity. Okay,
Yep, the foundation. I pulled that out, and everything else kind of fell away. And I wanted certainty again, and I didn't think I would get it from any other religion after that experience.
okay,
And it was a long time, actually, before I could stop thinking about hell. I remembered the moment that I think I felt the most non-Christian, or felt like I had fully left, was something bad happened to one of my kids,
okay.
and I didn't immediately pray.
Whoa,
And I was like, oh, am I not going to pray for this?
because that was
I,
such a common, like, natural action.
yep,
Just something like that. Okay,
yep. I have this phrase for Christians. It's Christians are a people of inaction,
okay,
because the type of Christian I was, I believed that prayer works. So if God wants it to happen, all I have to do is pray. I don't have to do anything.
okay.
And
So did
so
your child die because you didn't pray?
no,
Okay, cool. Sorry.
I
keep
don't
going.
even know what happened. It could have been something small, but it was just, oh, I don't have that fear like I did before anymore.
Hmm. How was it battling that your like relationship with the idea of God? Did you still believe in a God despite like not believing in the foundation of Christianity, or were you able to kind of ease that out along with
No,
it?
I went pretty hard to anti-theist,
Okay.
atheist, and then anti-theist.
Okay. An anti-theist is just not believing in God, right?
I think it's believing that people shouldn't believe in God.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think
Atheist is not believing in God, but anti-theist is like you're actively against it.
yeah, I think it was harmful for people.
Okay.
Is what I believed for a while.
Was that hard to let go of the idea of God, of this little thing that's larger than you, that supposedly loves you and supports you? Like, I can see the
Mm.
religion part of it, but how do you like let go of that thing that, because from my understanding with like prayer, the whole purpose of like prayer and these practices is your connection to God, your connection to this larger thing than you. So was that difficult at all letting that part go? I know you sound like you were worried about the idea of hell still.
Yeah, I don't think it was the good stuff that I was hard to let go. I think it
Okay.
was the fear, the afraid of losing, or the afraid of the fear of going to hell. That was the hardest thing for a long time.
So being kind of afraid of your bet against God.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think I comforted myself with the rationalization that I was just going to be a good enough person that if there was a God, that they would have mercy on people that were like me.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because I actually had this question for you. Is like, um, I feel like religion makes people feel like they're being a good person and they're making a difference in the world. What kind of things did you swap for that? Of what kind of things did you view that were good that you were doing that weren't?
As a Christian,
No, after this phase, yeah. What did you look at it about yourself that was good actions seen like morally, despite it not being associated to like religion?
hmm,
Like, what did you convince yourself that was good about you enough to not be concerned about hell?
I don't think I convinced myself that I was good enough to not need or not be afraid of hell. I know I see what you're saying. I think it was just the fact that I was trying. I looked around and I saw no one else really trying to do what I was doing,
Which was what?
like questioning things and wanting it to be right, wanting it to be as optimal as possible. And so I think that's like I refined Christianity into my own little version of Christianity until that bubble burst.
Yeah.
And I think that um, I was just seeking truth and doing the best I could the whole time. And so whenever I left Christianity, I still felt that way. I'm doing the best I can, and if this isn't good enough, then do I even want to worship that God
Hmm.
that would punish for someone like that?
So would it be safe to say that you swapped out your belief in like God and religion for this morality of what's truthful? Like what, almost like that can be seen as what's right and what's wrong. Is something closer to the truth or further away?
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to say it.
Okay. Um, did you miss anything from leaving religion? Did you miss anything about the religion? Like the
Yeah, I meant like until I had that one thought of I'm not going to pray. Was thinking, oh, I'm not going to have that savior to save someone at the last moment. I was afraid of that for a long time.
Hmm.
Lydia was not leaving religion the same speed that I was, and so I was worried about that relationship.
Was she like agreeing with much of what you were saying, or was she kind of hesitant?
I think she agreed with the we're shaping Christianity to kind of fit what we think the Bible says. She liked that part of it, but then whenever I was like, okay, I tried to make it fit, but it doesn't fit. So we got to get a new thing. And she was like, no.
So you were like, hypothetically, she was on a rug, and you were trying to. She thought you were changing the direction where the rug was going, but you were trying to pull out from underneath her.
Yep, exactly. She thought I was like repairing the rug. I mean, I was repairing the rug and making it a little nicer over here.
Yeah, building it, like building the rug off of itself.
Yep. But I just like cut it right in the middle and
She's like, no, I'm still here.
Yeah.
How did you handle that with kind of disagreeing beliefs? Because I know that can be a huge problem with couples when it comes to something as foundational as religious belief.
I don't know. I think I thought because of where we had come together so far, because of where we had come up to this point together, I thought we would probably keep going in the same direction. It was just going to take her a while.
Okay.
I think I felt confident in my decision
Okay.
of leaving, and then I could help her the same way.
Okay, I know you were kind of mentioning too that it was more of like you were kind of like the choice maker of the household while her being a woman and your wife was more of having to just trust your judgment. Do you think that played a part of it, that she didn't feel like she could really speak of what she believed versus just having to go along and support you as like that mother or wife figure?
Yeah, I think she was. Whenever I first told her, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to do this now for herself." And
Like the reality was kicking in for her?
yeah, she didn't like that she was gonna have to be the spiritual leader.
You after leaving religion, do you or leaving Christianity specifically, how do you view religion now as like an outsider?
I still view it as an as a necessary thing that I don't think sentient life could probably get to civilization without.
Okay.
I think that it helps with evolution of it gives people a purpose outside of themselves.
Hmm.
It can help them serve a community more. I think it helps people to want to protect each other. It creates groups that I think are good for early days of life.
Yeah, I've heard arguments for that when it comes to like group selection within evolution of groups joining together based off of like a commonality of beliefs and working towards that kind of helps people survive longer periods. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but I could see that realistically working, especially in a time period where like civilizations aren't as like popular. How
Yeah,
do you
I've thought about that about aliens. I think most aliens probably had a religious time period if there are aliens.
really?
Yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on I guess this could tie into aliens, but like what are your thoughts on like spirituality, like outside of religion? Do you have any spiritual practices of your own?
I don't have any regular spiritual practices, but it's something I've been trying to kind of open myself up to.
Okay.
I had this weird thing back in the fall where I found this really beautiful tree. It's one of my favorite trees in one of the neighborhoods near us. And it was brilliantly colored at the time. And I had the thought of if I look at this tree and just imagine that it's giving off this aura of happiness, would that make me feel happy?
Yeah.
And I was open minded enough at the time to try it. And it totally worked. And I felt stuff similar to this while backpacking, where it's just I feel connected to nature and I feel so at peace and like I belong in that moment, in that place, at that time. So I guess maybe that's how I've felt spirituality. I do think there's something more that we can't explain.
Hmm.
I've wanted certainty really bad, and so I've been resistant to it, but I'm becoming more open to it now.
Yeah, I mean that's such a drastic difference of lifestyle of being a part of a group that thinks they have all the answers to moving on to a world where you realize you have like no answers at all. And yeah, I mean it's just crazy.
It's more exciting. It's more fun. Life is more fun when you don't have the answers.
That's a very optimistic view of it. I could see that.
Yeah.
So do you believe there's something larger than us? Do you have ways of describing what you think that is? Or is that something you're still trying to figure out?
I think I'm trying to figure it out. It does seem like the simulation idea is interesting to me because I totally could get how advanced technology could make all of this seem like this
Yeah.
and how technology looks like magic until you understand it sometimes. I honestly feel that humans are so powerful. They seem kind of like gods in my opinion, especially if you compare them to all the other life.
Mhm.
It's such a big drastic difference. And so to just think of something that's 10% more, maybe they are God. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people who think that we're gonna start like viewing AI like models as gods because they can just do so many more complex things than we can as human beings.
Like after we've forgotten that they're AI models.
Or I think a lot of people in tech more describe it when it becomes self-improving, where an AI system can start like updating and building its own code and optimizing itself to the point where it kind of becomes a self like managing entity. Yeah. Which I don't think we're very far away from that, but I mean, would if someone came like 200 years ago, someone came like a human being just came to Earth and had like a cell phone, will take pictures. Like I'm pretty sure we'd view that as a god. So if some other type of entity could have like other technology that we can't even comprehend, yeah, I could totally see that as being like perceived as something larger than us. Um, how do you view death now after leaving religion? Because you kind of feel like you have that covered. You're like, as long as I'm good, I got to go to this heaven, get to be with my family forever. Yeah. So how do you view that now as an agnostic?
It makes me want to live harder. I
Okay.
need to pack it in because this is the only one I get. It's it makes it more meaningful. It is scary though. I know I won't care that I'm dead, but I can't help but feel sad for the people that will miss me.
Hmm.
I want to keep living. I don't know if I'd want to live forever though.
You want to be a vampire?
Definitely not a vampire. I was thinking of when they could like transfer our consciousness into like a computer or something.
Yeah. Would you do that?
I don't know. I would like to live longer than humans normally live,
Yeah.
but I don't want to live forever.
Okay. I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think it would get boring like too. I think you'd stop. I would say there's probably like a limited amount of experiences people can have as a human being. As depressing as that can sound, but I think
Hmm.
I mean, in comparatively to how long a human can live, I think that there's plenty of experiences you can have. But if you think for like thousands of years living, you'd get bored.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
Do you have any practices that were still tied to Christianity that you kept? Are there any type of like rituals or things that you learned from Christianity that you kind of still hold on to despite like what it's associated to? Do you still like I know like the idea of like praying with a family or being grateful for like dinner, like are there different ways you've morphed things like that that you still hold on to? If you don't, the answer is it's okay to say no.
I I don't think there's that much. The main thing is more of um, a philosophy of I still want the truth. I still want to do what's right. I think that came from being taught by my parents to look for truth.
Mhm.
And they were talking about a capital T truth, a specific truth that they wanted me to believe, but I can't hear capitalization.
Wait, what's the difference between lowercase and capital T?
One's a proper noun and one's just a noun. And
Yeah.
I just wanted truth, but they were talking about a specific truth. And
Okay.
I didn't know it. I just thought that, well, this is little t truth in the Bible. That's so convenient. And then when I realized it wasn't in my 20s, like that was weird to me because I was looking for lowercase t truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that distinction. Do you regret being a Christian?
It didn't even feel like a choice, so I don't regret it. I I think it put me in a unique position to speak about stuff that most people can't speak about because they weren't in religion as much as I was and are now out of it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it distinguishes me, maybe lets me be more useful to the world because I have a different perspective than a lot of people do.
Yeah, not many people have to tear apart an entire belief system you have about how the whole world is perceived. And if that doesn't make you stronger, then I don't know what the fuck would. So I have a couple more questions. What would you say to someone that's starting to question their own Christian beliefs?
That's hard. I would want to know why. Why are they questioning them? Is it because of someone hurting them, or yeah? I guess my thing would just be stay curious, keep looking for that lowercase t truth, and why wouldn't you do opposition research?
Mm. Like what's stopping you?
Yeah, if you're not going to do that, why? Like, be honest with yourself of why you're not.
Mm. All right. Last question. A lot of people go to like religion, a lot of people go to churches and are a part of religious groups because they find a sense of community, they find a sense of love. Like I know I've met lots of Christian people where their love is derived from how much Jesus loves them and the whole like sacrifice or like whatever mixed story you have. And so a lot of people I believe find a lot of connection and love through religion and specifically like Christianity for any Christians. Where do you find love in your life now as an agnostic man in this world?
I remember my mom telling me about this new age idea of humanism and how humans kind of worshipped themselves. I guess I kind of feel like that now. I'm so impressed with humans now that I don't see them as filthy rags any longer. They blow me away. And so I don't know. I love humanity. I love humans, and I want us all to be happy and have peace. And uh, I think that religion was useful, but it seems to be causing more problems than it's solving now.
Hmm. I would completely agree. I'm happy you left.
Me too.
I don't think we would be friends if you didn't.
Absolutely not.
You probably would have despised me.
Yes.
Well, fuck you, man.
But I fucking love you too.
All right. Cool.
Yep. Thanks for joining the conversation about me leaving religion. If you want some more, Lane's going to be talking about his coming up pretty soon. So maybe subscribe or check this video out in the meantime.